particularly for myself with Wilhelm or Revisited or anything, I don't like to cut stuff out. I like things to be as natural and flowing as it goes. I don't take out ums and I didn't even realize that I set that up. I like things to feel as natural as possible. I don't take out ums or uhs or anything like that. I like everything to feel as like a real true blue conversation as possible. So with that said, anytime we do have to edit something or we have to cut something out, I make a note of it. I make a little timestamp note so I know where to go to edit things out. Somebody stumbles over words and needs to restart a sentence, things like that. I forgot to make a timestamp last week for Alex's bathroom break.
And I would like to point out, I am almost certain it was the first bathroom break I have asked for this entire season. I am almost certain it is the first bathroom break that I have requested this entire season.
I think you're right, because even so much so that so we have a chat option in the platform that we use. And I saw like a number one. I was like, oh, who left the message? Maybe it was Becky. And I go in and it was you like asking like, hey, at some point before we jump into the discussion, can we take a bathroom break? Yep. So right before we started playing the feedback, I was like, let's do the bathroom break now. And everything goes. And then Becky and I proceed to have a conversation.
A delightful conversation. I'm so happy. Now I felt like I didn't miss what was in the room.
About needing to sleep with blankets, even in the heat, in the middle of a heat wave in the summer.
And I would like to chime in and weigh in when I get this opportunity here in a few moments. But continue telling what happened, because
a long story short, it got left in the podcast last week because I forgot to write down a timestamp so I knew to go in and edit it. Because, the beats of the conversation, by the time we get to the end, I don't always remember that we did stuff like that because, as you mentioned, we don't usually take a break during our recording. We usually go start to finish. So the fact that we had never done it in all 8 episodes of the podcast, I didn't think to edit it out.
For sure.
And it got left in, and I didn't realize I left it in until Becky messaged me and said, oh my God, you left the blanket talk in. And I was like, oh, holy shit. Like, okay, I'll go in, I'll edit it out. And she's like, no, it's fantastic.
It's like great content. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And again, it was new to me. I didn't know any of it. So that's why when I heard it, because I'm that nerd that listens to it the next day, because I never remember what I said after the moment has passed. So I was like, this son of a bitch left it. You know what? I'm a top sheet guy. I got to at least have a top sheet. No, this is great stuff. This is good content. Oh, and I'm back. Seamlessly. Yep. It was great.
If it annoyed anybody that I left it in there, I apologize. But otherwise, it was a nice little behind the scenes moment for how we do these podcasts.
You're welcome, folks. That BTS access is usually only available through Patreon, so you're welcome.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. So that's where you fall then on the blanket
I need at least a top sheet. I would prefer a blanket. I can't really have a quilt with holes because the especially if there's an air conditioner on, will make me way too cold. But I do need something on top. I can't sleep without something over me. It's just it feels wrong. Even like taking off my jacket if I'm sleeping in a car and draping that over myself to have the illusion of a blanket, that's good enough.
I think that's just it. Like, I don't think it's necessarily, and we're already way off base. But I think that's just it. I think it's that notion of security, of knowing I have something over me. It doesn't necessarily need to keep me warm. It's just the fact that I need that security of something over top of me when I sleep.
It's like a little level of shelter, just enough to feel good.
Exactly. Now, don't get me wrong. Every once in a while, I have slept in situations where I'm in a place that doesn't have air conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 95 degrees outside. And in that case, I am taking off almost everything that I can take off without it being inappropriate. And I am on top of the sheets.
Oh, yeah.
Like, trying to,
you gotta do, too.
Trying to let my body breathe as much as possible.
That's fair. That's very fair.
So, all right. Enough of that nonsense.
Yeah, I guess.
Let's move on and let's get to some of your feedback for the season 2 finale of Dead City.
You know what, Ben? Let's get to all of their feedback for the season 2 finale of Walking. Let's do it all this week.
That's probably a good idea. That's some of it. We should do all of it.
I love it.
Thank you for correcting me on that.
Well, I'm in a fun, feisty mood.
There you go. Which is surprising because the Phils haven't been doing that good.
You know what? They took 2 or 3 from the Braves, and the beloved Mets of Miss Becky Anderson got swept by the Pirates. So it's a good weekend all around, folks.
I'm just in the minds of listeners right now being like, get on with it.
There are probably 7 listeners that care about baseball, and I'm the only Phils fan among them, so I'll take it.
I'm
all right,
one.
2 of us. The 2 of us that are actively on this show are the 2 Phils fans. I'll take it.
All right, kicking it off with our season finale feedback. The first one comes, of course, from our guest last week, Becky Anderson, and she says, I just want to say how much I enjoyed the cold versus hot conversation. Never underestimate the importance of a good blanket.
Couldn't agree more, Becky. Could not agree more. Of all the astute observations from this season, that one is the most succinct and the most accurate. Nicely done.
You know, this is it's interesting because last week with Becky on, it's the first time we've ever had a guest read their own feedback.
Yes.
And now this time she's commenting on a conversation that she was a part of.
It's true. There are levels of narcissism at play here. No, I'm kidding, Becky. I don't think that at all. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say the degree of meta that we've gone, but
what? We've gone full Abed. You know nice. What? Dang it. That's something I wanted to ask people last week. I wanted people to say, like, all right, which of Alex's obscure references did you find to be the most obscure that you got and thought to yourself, hey, I feel seen. That was a Final Fantasy joke. What the heck? Because there were a lot this season.
Look, the references don't just go when we're recording either, because it was just a couple minutes ago before we started recording that you went chicka chicka.
I sure did. Bow.
And I knew exactly where that was from. Bow, bow.
Darn right you did.
Sorry.
All right, next up.
Get on with it.
Gemma Hall. Gemma Hall says, I haven't seen past episode 4, I think. Going to binge it. It was feeling a bit Fear the Walking Dead to me, and Negan was nicest man on planet. Well, excited to see what you think of the rest of the season. There was some fear throughout, but I feel like they stuck the landing by the end and it didn't go full fear. So hope you enjoy the rest of the plate.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm also going to put this out there too to anybody listening that if you, while we're doing the feedback for the final episode now, if you do have more feedback, we may not have an episode where we can read it on the air and on a recording, but still send it in because Jason will forward it to us. And I'm still curious to hear what you guys' thoughts, or, you know, if like a couple weeks down the road you think of something and you want to send it in. That's continue 100%. To send in the feedback. Next up, Zachary John Singer. I thought this was a decent season. I still enjoyed season 1 more. Season 1 looked better and production value seemed better. The production this year seemed more like Fear the Walking Dead. But I really love the storylines of Negan and of Herschel. I hope next season doesn't inflate the cast. Focus on the surviving characters from this season and the new leader from New Babylon and leave it at that. I agree 100%. I like the fact that we kind of trimmed the fat when it came to characters by the end of the season.
But I guess my biggest fear, curiosity to that is that not just the way this show goes? It introduces us to a group of people for 3 to 4 episodes and then kills them all off. They did that in season 1 with the pigeon lady and the folks that the Barazzi were after that died in the sewers and everything. Like,
yeah.
So I am a little like, is that just not what this show does? So I guess maybe I'm even preemptively saying, even if they inflate the cast of the first week or two, don't worry, half of them are going to die.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They did do the same thing in season 1. They gave us a bunch of supporting characters that didn't make it to the end of the season. And even now, the more I think about it, when I say trim the fat, we've really only lost 2 major characters this season in Navarez and Bruegel.
That's true.
That's really it.
The Croat's still there. Negan and Herschel. Well, we lost
Pearly.
Ginny. We lost Ginny.
Oh, we did lose Ginny. That's right.
But you're right. Only 3. And we've already named 4 now, and we haven't even gotten to the big Negan and Maggie of it all that are still around. Yeah. So, yeah, that's fair. That is fair. And I also feel like there are some... we know that we're going to get a new Babylon leader, and there's probably going to be a couple of other individuals. Benjamin's still around, so I'm curious to see how our new Eugene is gonna fit to the surroundings. So I think they're gonna have to expand it a little bit, but I'm intrigued to see if we can get better and more character development, because I thought that the character development with Pearly this year really made him a character I now want to root for. Where if you'd have told me at the end of last season I would ever actually care about Pearly, I would have scoffed. But no, I legitimately care about him. They did a really good job of filling him out better this year.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
All right, next up we have feedback from Dre Manoni. For the most part, I like this episode. There were a few nitpick moments, and I'm still processing the voiceover ending, but ultimately, I'm glad Maggie finally made a decision. I feel like now we can all move forward. I think Herschel felt like forcing her into killing Negan would be what she needed to move on so they could have a more normal relationship, but I never feel like characters truly feel better if they take revenge on their enemy. It is usually a short-term fix. The harder and more productive work comes from figuring out how to move forward. I think you can forgive and not forget, and there is something interesting about that storyline on the other side of all this pent-up rage and stewing in your emotions that I might just be looking forward to next season. Thanks for the coverage and keeping us entertained on the podcast. Even when the TV episodes wasn't my favorite, you all always do a great job of talking through both sides of the story, and have even changed my mind a few times along the way. Thanks, Dre.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I agree with you. I like the way that you phrased it of Maggie finally making a decision. And if they actually stick to their guns and stop having her waffle, I will really, really appreciate it. If we can just get to the point of like, all right, Maggie has now stabbed Negan in 2 straight season finales. Last year in the chest, this year in the back. And she always regrets it almost instantaneously. Can we just stop this game? And I agree. I think if they commit to that, that's fun storytelling. And I can't wait to see how it evolves from here.
I think ultimately that whole voiceover ending that Dre mentioned, and that's the clip that we pulled for last week's episode as well. I think that alone is the proof positive that the decision has been made. It is,
yes,
she has now accepted everything, and she has moved on from everything that there was. She got it out of her system. She had an opportunity. She has seen some changes in Negan. She stabbed him twice. That'll get a lot out of your system.
It really will, honestly. Plunging a knife into someone, not once, but twice, from what I understand, can be very cathartic and therapeutic.
And I mean, even going into what she mentioned too about Herschel forcing her into killing Negan. First off, I don't think that was Herschel's decision. That is totally the Dama's influence.
Herschel wasn't thinking there. The Dama was thinking through Herschel, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like that was the Dama making the choice, using Herschel as the vessel
for sure,
to make that decision happen. But even through that, I think Maggie even sees that killing Negan would be wrong.
Yeah,
like that's the wrong way to go about this.
Even before the Ginny of it all, I do feel like I just don't think she was going to bash him. I don't know. We'll never know.
I thought for a minute there was.
I thought for a minute, but I just feel like you get that bat over your head, you look down on him, and you realize if you beat this monster, you become this monster.
Yeah.
I feel like that moment would have came to her at some point. Like if I do this to him, I am becoming him. And am I ready to do that?
It's similar to what me and Jason and Eric and Lucy were all talking about this season with The Last of Us. It's that circle of violence. You become the person that you were trying to end. Yes. And, in that process of trying to end someone that way, you become that person. So, I mean, so much so to the point where Maggie was going to end Negan with Lucille, the one way that he ended Glenn. So,
I mean, cathartic and beautiful storytelling. And, it brings us back to the most important point, which is kill the nurses, leave no survivors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was my point all season for The Last of Us.
And I loved it because I thought the same thing since last season of The Last of Us.
If Joel had just killed the nurses,
he'd have been fine.
None of this would have happened.
They would have never been able to tell Abby that he was so handsome.
He'd still be alive. All right.
Weird thing to fixate on, but yeah, he is handsome. I'll give him that.
All right. Moving on. Deborah Ulmer, who has graciously left us feedback all season, as well as a number of these people. So thank you for that, by the way.
Yes, agreed.
Deborah says, hi, Ben and Alex. First, I wanted to say thank you for covering Dead City this season. I really enjoyed the conversations and how y'all played off of each other. I'm really going to miss the Croat and Bruegel, and Bruegel's a good addition, too. How he went was brutal. Maggie and Negan really do remind me of Batman and Joker, ironically. She can't kill him for nothing. The Dama sure clocked that right, and she had Herschel all to herself now. I'm not sure what the timeline is for this season, but it took the second wave, New Babylon, long enough to come. Maggie, Negan, and Pearlie are going to have to discover new allies if they want to go against them and whatever the Dama is planning. I'm still in for a season 3 to see how the story plays out. Y'all have a good one and take care. Comparing Maggie and Negan to Batman and the Joker is a good comparison.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, especially if we look at that through the lens of Lego Batman. I think honestly, and I'm not kidding here. I am not kidding here. I think the dynamics of Joker and Batman in Lego Batman and the story that was told through that lens is a lot like the Negan and Maggie of it all, where like they need each other. They really do, in one weird psychotic way. Like they bring out the best in each other and the most badass in each other. It's crazy.
And it's a good comparison, too, considering that this entire season, actually this entire show, is Batman's parents fighting.
Yes. Batman is / the comedian. Yes. It's funny. He's the comedian and Joker simultaneously.
Well, I mean, for anybody who doesn't know.
Yes. Was it Batman versus Superman?
It was Batman versus Superman. Yeah. Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Lauren Cohan played Batman's parents.
What a fun world we live in.
Played the Waynes.
DC, you silly.
Martha and Thomas Kent.
Couple of things I wanted to point out though, Deborah. So you said I'm really going to miss the Croat. Great news. He's not technically going anywhere. I think we are going to get plenty more of Melee in the upcoming season. He's not dead. He just kind of wandered off into the new beginnings, and he's going to find out that the Dama is alive and have a thing to say about that. So I refuse to accept that the Croat is not coming back for the next season.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
You made up a great point of like, Negan and Maggie and Pearlie are going to have to find new allies. They've already killed a lot of potential allies. So I don't know if Negan is in charge of the Barazzi or if the Dama is going to be in charge of them now. And then Bruegel's.
I think the Barazzi are gone.
Right? They would almost have to be. Like they died in the Bruegeling.
The whole church thing, yeah.
So the Barazzi are gone, the Brugelites are gone, the Bone Peoples are gone. That leaves the Druids from the church that we never checked back in with. I mean, hell, the people in the forest or in the tall grass are gone. Like they're just killing off waves of potential allies, and the allies just keep getting weirder and weirder. So season 3 is going to get all kinds of messed up.
Well, I mean, and let's not forget too that Manhattan is a huge city.
Huge city, that's true.
And we are really this season and season 1 even, we have only scratched the surface of where we're just north of Central Park this point.
That's true.
We have not even. Well, I mean, we've seen it with Radio City and such lit up, but there's so much more south of that. In New York, there's a lot of area left to cover, and if these people who survived for as long as they did in Central Park, I'm sure there are other people in this city that have survived but have not yet made themselves known.
Do you know who would be uniquely suited to survive for a long period of time in New York in the zombie
Jon Stewart.
apocalypse? Yes, I mean obviously. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Actually, I think April O'Neil is the most well-protected human being left in New York City, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because they're going to live to be 300 anyways. They're good. They're okay. I think there's a crossover event potentially here.
Actually, if you go by, this is my total nerddom, because I literally now. People listening at home are not going to be able to see this. I literally just bought this book.
Oh, nice. The Last Ronin.
The Last Ronin.
That's going to be a badass movie, I think.
If you go by that storyline, which I believe is canon to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles timeline, 3 of the turtles are dead. There's only 1 left. So, but if we go by Walking Dead timeline, the zombie apocalypse might have happened before all of that happened. So technically they could still be alive.
The beauty of all of this being comic book culture is it's all just a different multiverse, baby.
Right.
The Walking Dead comic verse is a different multiverse from the TV show. It's beautiful.
Hey, all I have to say is after what Negan did to the Dama's rat, don't introduce him in Splinter.
Damn, that is now all right. That's a mic drop. I'm moving on to the next one. We cannot get any better than that.
Please do.
That was dynamite. Well done.
Please do.
Next up, we have from Andrea Barca. I started watching when the show premiered this season. After the first episode, I disliked the new characters and lost interest. Maggie has been annoying, and Herschel a brat. No offense to the actors. Honestly, all these kids need to take a lesson from Judith Grimes, a.k.a. Little Ass Kicker. I'm just saying. Ultimately, I am a Walking Dead fan, and I decided to listen to Ben and Alex to see if they would pique my interest, and they did. Yay! Full disclosure, I only watched the last 2 episodes, but I'm glad I did, and maybe I'll go backwards at some time later. The last episode was so intense. The walkers under the table was genius. Seeing JDM bring old Negan back gave me chills. I know I'm supposed to hate him, but I can't bring myself to do it. JDM just has this wicked charm. The church battle was awesome, and when Maggie stabbed Negan, I had a moment where I really thought she was going to kill him. But then Jenny, that was so heartbreaking. As for how it ended, I have a problem with Herschel staying with Adama, but other than that, I feel like Maggie found some peace, and I want to see where the show goes from here. I'm glad that her and Negan will be on the same team, at least for now.
Yeah, it's I'm glad that you stuck with it, if just for Alex and I's playful conversations and banter the whole time.
We get the job done, you know?
Yeah, we look, the train may jump the tracks a couple of times and a podcast, but we get it right back on path.
Unlike that analogy. So,
shut up.
All right, Andrea, a couple of things I want to point out. Number one, I don't know if you're from the greater New England or Boston area, but when you put the words wicked and charm next to each other in the same sentence, I had to say it wicked charm, and I hope I did well if you are, in fact, from the Bostonian area. I also think that the way that you tackled this season is fascinating, and I don't hate it, to be perfectly honest. You watched the first 2 and the last 2 episodes, you skipped all the middle meandering, and honestly, if you listen to us, I feel like you got a full picture of what happened. So kudos, nicely done. Go back and watch it. But I don't hate how you conquered the season. Nicely done.
No, I mean, and you know what? She might have done herself a favor in skipping some of the slower moments of the season as well by 100%. Doing that.
Yes. The people in the tall grass, that their story was unnecessary. All it did was wipe out Navarez, which if you didn't watch past the second episode, you didn't really care about her.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point.
Nicely done, Andrea. Thanks for the email.
All right. Shifting into some emails that we received as well. The first one comes from Zachary Singer, who's been writing for the past couple weeks. And he says, "Hi, Ben and Alex. Hope you both are doing well. I'm here to give feedback on the finale. But first, I forgot to mention this about episode 7. I'm still not sure if the Walker kids were real or just in Negan's head. But I thought it would have been cool when Negan ran back into the kid ward that he finally noticed that all the kids look very familiar. One kid has a sheriff hat, one has a katana, one has a missing arm and a mask on, one looks like his son, one that looks like Jenny, one that Jenny was right. One looks like the boy who he formed a bond with when he escaped Alexandria, etc. Just another group of people in his mind he thinks he let down. As for the finale, I really enjoyed the finale. I like where all the characters are currently. Herschel being with the Dama makes sense. Maggie couldn't make him leave. So is Negan done with Dama's group at the church? Did the church and Methane get destroyed? I only wonder that because they end up in this random apartment. Pearlie was a lot more enjoyable this episode, and I hope that continues. I hope next season they do the New Babylon some justice and write them really well. I wouldn't be shocked to see New Babylon run into the Croat or Annie when they arrived to the island. Excited for, it says DD, but I think that's DC. Supposed to be DC. Yeah. Excited for Dead City Season 3. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, I think we were in pretty much agreement where these characters ended up. We were happy with. I think the only question is Herschel with the Dama is kind of weird because I think they shit the bed on the Dama still being alive.
Sure did. It was cheap. It was cheap. And but
the whole wave off of that's how I survived. No.
The thing is, here's the other thing. I was genuinely upset when I thought the Dama was off the board. So if you're going to bring her back, make it a little bit more believable, a little bit more explained, and a little bit more compelling, and I'll be happy. I wanted the Dama to come back, but I'm not going to let her come back with just a hand wave. Like that's cheap. I'm not here for that.
Yeah. As for the idea of making the kids look like people from Negan's past, that's amazing.
That's phenomenal.
That's so cool. It would have definitely answered the question as to whether or not the kids were real, because they wouldn't have been.
True.
We know for a fact if they did that, we would know for a fact that they would be in his mind.
Unless they didn't. And here's the thing that I would like Walking Dead to do sometimes. And if it was The Last of Us, they would have done it this way. But set it up that way and don't focus on it, knowing that we're going to be poring over it for Easter eggs. Let us figure that out on our own. Like, the fan base is smart enough. We'll catch on to that. But don't highlight any of it. Just let it happen in passing and see if we pick up on that. I think that would have been a much better way to tell that. But I don't get paid to make those decisions. So what am I doing here?
True. I mean, and when you look at all the things that Zachary mentioned too, the kid with the cowboy hat, missing arm and a mask on, one that looks like his son, the boy with the one that looked like the boy. I think the one that would worry me the most is one that has a katana.
I love it though, but yes, that would worry me a little bit. That would. Although if they had a little Carl there with an eye patch, he would worry me because that man was I
think that's what he meant with the kid with the cowboy hat.
Oh, that makes more sense. Sorry. I was thinking of
one kid with the sheriff hat.
I was thinking of what's his face?
Oh no, that could have been Rick. Yeah,
Rick's other son, RJ. Duh.
I mean, well, if we did have a kid with a katana, that's definitely Michonne. So
Judith.
I guess did Judith use a katana?
Absolutely, Judith had a katana. Yeah, buddy.
Oh, see, my mind instantly went to Rick and Michonne. Okay.
No, I would think the sheriff's hat would be the Carl, like you said, or RJ, and then the katana.
We're diving way too deep into this.
Into something that didn't even happen. But to answer a couple of questions, number one, did the methane get destroyed? No. At the end of the season, we saw that Benjamin and the New Babylon forces went into the area where the methane was. So do they know how to harness it? Are they going to capture the Croat and turn the Croat into an asset for New Babylon? And that's going to turn him into the enemy of Negan and them. Is he going to become a double agent? I don't know. That's something to look out for, I think, is how is the Croat going to be played through the eye of the New Babylonians that now have the methane. And the random apartment, gun to my head, Ben, I think that's Pearlie's apartment or his brother's apartment.
You could be right. I don't think
it is. It might not be explicit.
I don't think it's explained.
Okay.
No.
But I remember getting the feeling like, oh shit, is this his brother's apartment? Because he at least knew where stuff was and what was there and what he could work with, and he had to bandage up Negan's back. Maggie.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it was. I feel like Negan couldn't have gone far without being patched up.
100%. So, he had a very deep knife wound.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to see if it plays out next season.
I can't wait to find out. But next up, we have an email from Elijah Andrews. What up, Ben and Alex? Name is Elijah from Missouri, and I've been listening to this channel's episode wrap-ups for the entirety of Season 2 of The Last of Us and Season 2 of Dead City while running my trash route, but haven't wrote in before today. I didn't realize how many shows this channel covered, but I'm all caught up on Yellow Jackets as well, so I may have to give those episodes a listen sometime. Highly recommend it. It's a great choice. Elijah says, I'm with Alex here, though. I'm a Negan stan through and through. I've always been drawn to the more complex characters with layers, more so than simple good and bad motivations. Negan and Michonne were always my favorite characters from The Walking Dead proper. So I would have likely been out had they treated his character the way they did this season and then just killed him in the finale. I also typically enjoy Maggie, but like you guys have said, it feels like they chopped the legs off of her badassness this season because she spent the whole time dealing with her shithead son. Herschel is the worst. Not saying anything bad about Logan Kim. He's a fine actor. But I could not stand Herschel most of this season. His constant sour face, how easily he's been manipulated, how he talks to Maggie, even the way he stands makes me want to hit him. I get he's an angsty teen and his mom isn't always there for him because of, her trauma, but he still has a badass and caring mother that would literally die for him at any given moment. And how does he return the favor? never attempts to see things from her perspective, talks down to her constantly, and tries to poison her and everyone else's water supply before running off in the middle of the night. You're lucky to have anyone, let alone your own caring mother, by your side during the apocalypse. And he still acts like he's had it so hard, which is laughable. I wish Maggie would slap the freaking taste out of his mouth one of these episodes, if I'm being honest. Bruegel was certainly a high point for me this season. I'd bring him back and kill Herschel if I could. You know what? Right there with you, Elijah. Having a fancy, flamboyant, eccentric, smooth-talking villain was fun and something new for TWD. So Bruegel, if you will be surely missed to me. The Croat also really grew on me this season. Speaking of complex characters, and I'm excited to see where his story will be taken next season and how he'll play into things. Probably more so than I am for anyone else's in the show at this point, if I'm being honest. Not a big pearly guy. I don't know why, but he just seems spineless and flip-floppy. And like, if anything, he's going to hold Maggie and Negan back in their journey moving forward. I like the dynamic of our badass leads, begrudgingly teaming up to take down an even greater evil, more so than what we got this season, though. So I'm excited for the show's future, although a little skeptical. Elijah, loved that email, not just because you agreed with me, although that is a very fast way to get to the center of my heart. Nicely done. But so many good points. I thought you really nailed it. Nicely done. I love that you listen to us on your route at work. I feel like anything we can do to help you get through the day, I am 100% here for. And as someone that has had, 2 kids with diapers and cats and, God bless the trash people, I know what I put you through, and you guys don't get paid enough, whatever you get paid. It's never enough. Thank you. But great email. That was fantastic. And I'm so happy you waited until the end to send feedback, because that was delightful.
I'm excited that we're getting feedback from new people by the end as well. I mean, as much as I would love to get it earlier too, like, I'm just glad that they're getting it in by the time before we wrap this up, because this is the last time you're going to hear the two of us together on this particular channel, because we know if we get a season 3, it's going to be like 2 years down the road.
Oh, for sure. I might be dead. No, I probably won't be.
Don't say that. Like, be. That's not, yeah.
All right, Carrie didn't look at me. All right, I'm good. But no, you're absolutely right, Ben. For at least like a year to 2, this is The Last of Us.
Oh, I saw what you did there, and I don't like it.
I telegraphed the hell out of it.
All right. The next email comes from, and I apologize if I say this wrong. Again, this is somebody who has not written in before, so we haven't said this before. Colette, I believe it's Childkraut.
God bless you.
Thank you. I have tried to send several messages through the podcast voice message, and they don't seem to go through. That is, unless they have, and you now have about 5 from me. Good news, Colette. Well, good news, bad news. Bad news is they didn't go through, so good news is we don't have a bunch of stockpile, because if we did, we would have played them. First, I want to say I love your coverage of Dead City, and I look forward to you guys on the rewatch with the Negan episodes of The Walking Dead coming up. Next, I want to say I love Jason and Lucy. So do we.
That's a fact.
I'm a longtime listener, but I'm glad Jason is not on the podcast as he hates Negan.
I want to get him on at some point with us, and like let's have that 2-hour conversation. Let's do it.
He actually did want to come on this season to kind of be objective about Negan. But unfortunately, schedule-wise, he just wasn't able to make it happen because of things that he has going on with the podcast that he records, his own life, and of course, us recording at 9:30 in the evening, which is only 6:30 in the evening his time.
It's only 6:30 for him. Okay, so I've watched baseball games on the West Coast. All right. Our 10 o'clock is his 7 o'clock. So, I just watched
a WWE podcast, a WWE pay-per-view that took place in Saudi Arabia that happened like 8 p.m. their time. It was 1 p.m. in the afternoon our time. Anyway, I digress. Sorry. Jason, I love that, but I'm glad Jason is not on the podcast as he hates Negan. We have to disagree here. I'm a big Negan fan, and I find Maggie so annoying and have for a long time. So let's talk about the bear. So we're going to go back a couple episodes for their feedback. I enjoyed the episode, but where did the bear come from? It's a grizzly. We only have black bears on the East Coast. It's not from the Central Park Zoo. Granted, I haven't been there in years since my kids are grown up now. They only had a polar bear that swam in circles in a small tank. I think that was because he was sad. As for the Bronx Zoo, did that bear come from here, maybe? But I don't think so. But I guess we have to believe that's where it came from. But how did it get to Manhattan? It's an island. As for this week's episode, what in the weirdness was it all about? I'm a big fan of this show because, well, Negan and New York City in ruins, but the parallel fainting going on with Maggie and Negan was so weird. What was even real with Negan? So we're going back to episode 7.
Okay, yeah.
Did he just faint in the lobby and imagine the room full of swaying zombie children and chasing the bag person, which turned out to be Lucille? So none of that ever happened? And why was he woozy? And Maggie the same. Why the fainting and being woozy? And the Dama with her chopped off haircut and no burns. Yeah, right? Was it even real? Jeez. I'm looking forward to next week. Negan is back, baby. I think he's back, but different. More heart, I hope, and understanding of what he needs to do. More cracking jokes and cracking skulls Negan, it looks like from the preview. Also, a few episodes back, the humor of Dead City was called into question. Complaints that it was too dark and there wasn't any humor. I think there's loads of funny moments in the series. I enjoy it and often chuckle. Maybe it's me. I have a weird sense of humor. I also love the Croat. He's funny, and the Dama was great. In the next episode, which I believe is the last one, I can't wait to see how she's unburnt and had a chic new bob. Until next week, bye, and don't get bit, Colette.
I love how you did the bye there. Nicely done. Way to get into character. Colette, fantastic email. I've got feedback for you off of that feedback. That is feedback conundrum. Feedback squared.
So the bye is that's what we do on when we do our Last of Us coverage, because that's how people tend to, like, for some reason it's become a thing that's how people end their feedback now.
Honestly, I'm a Chic Valley girl, so I end my feedback with bye. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously, Colette, you seemed a couple episodes behind, but I'm glad you caught up with your feedback of everything too. The bear argument's interesting.
I got nothing about that. I don't know jack about bears. Not even I know polar bears don't belong on tropical islands unless a plane crashes there and there's a giant foot inhabited by a savior like man. But other than that, I don't know much about bears.
If we had a count for every time we reference Lost,
one an episode at least
on this podcast,
you could bet on FanDuel that it was going to come up 3 times, and I would have probably bet the under for this week. But yes, we talk about Lost extensively.
I don't even know why I didn't expect a Lost reference with a polar bear mention. Like
100%.
I should have just expected
it. Anyways,
I mean, as for the parallels with Negan and Maggie in the penultimate, the fainting and everything, we did talk a little bit about that when we discussed the episode.
And Maggie had low blood sugar. I think we were led to believe that she hasn't eaten, she hasn't drank, she hasn't slept. She's just
exhaustion. It was just flat out. Yeah, exhaustion.
Yes, she hasn't done anything but be on this chase for probably 48 straight hours, and she was sleeping standing up because of that. And that was, again, so well directed and so well depicted on screen.
Yeah, exactly. And then the only other thing I'll say too was when you mentioned a few episodes back, the humor of Dead City was called into question. If I remember correctly, I don't think it was called into question by us. I think of somebody who had left feedback.
Correct. I think so as well, yeah.
Had called it into question, because I think you and I were in agreement that there was definitely some humor to the show.
There is always bits of humor, whether it's just the way that JDM presents himself, whether it's the Benjamin characters, whether it's, Bruegel was always hilarious. Benjamin always did something that was pretty damn funny. Negan is who he is. The Croat was funny at several points. So yeah, there's always comedy, but no, that was great. And I will argue the Dama does have a burn on her neck. There is a burn on her neck. It's kind of lazy, but it's there. And are we also supposed to believe that her hair singed off? Like, did she? So the chic new bob is new. Is that because her hair burned and she just cut it off? I'm guessing.
Probably, okay. But I agree. I'm glad you said she does have a burn, but it's lazy.
It's a lazy burn.
It's a very lazy burn.
Right, because you were a firefighter, so you've seen these types. No one is coming out with that little of a burn, right?
Yeah, okay. Exactly. She's going to have some serious burns on her body.
We're talking Two-Face over. We're talking Harvey Dent status, at least.
What we saw of Millie watching her in that fire,
yes,
she's going to have burns.
At least one of her hands is going to be charred and bruised. And again, it's been like 18 hours. So whatever that, it's going to be pus. It's going to be So it was a very lazy burn. Very, very, very lazy burn.
Well, not only that, but I mean, just the fact that like, she's not let's just say her story's believable. And after Melee left the room, she got out from underneath of there. She pulled a body and she put it underneath. She's not getting out that unscathed.
Nope.
Regardless.
Nope.
So that burn on her neck, lazy or not, is not the only burn that is not all she's getting out of there.
Absolutely not. No. She's going to play the teacher on friggin' Pay It Forward.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's a good reference.
That's what she should look like. Or Kevin Spacey's character in Pay It Forward.
Or Mel Gibson in The Man Without a Face.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. That's the level of burn that they should be ascribing to.
Let's just see how many other references we can throw into this episode before we get out of here.
Mel Gibson and Kevin Spacey. Woo.
I know. Dude. Man. Ooh, man. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel for people we're referencing in this episode.
Deep bottom. Let's move on to voicemails?
Yeah, please. Let's do that. So we do have a number of voicemails for this week's episode, which is great. Love it when you people are able to send in voicemails. And the first one we have is thanks to you, Alex, because you set a challenge to this person. For the past couple weeks, we've been getting emails from Colin Stillwell, and you put the challenge out there last week to send a voicemail, and that's exactly what we did.
I can't wait. And I have to say, before we play it, I don't know what Colin sounds like, but I'm going to imagine in my head what I'm expecting, and then you're going to hit play, and then I'm going to find out. And I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'll let you know if it matches up.
All right, here it is. Our voicemail, our first voicemail. This is from Colin Stillwell.
Cool.
Well, you guys twisted my arm. I did claim to be more of a writer, but I never claimed to be able to read. So I'll do my best in translating hieroglyphics and wingdings into speech. And I would be honored to join y'all for season 3. Should you summon me, by the time you guys hear this, I'll be a year sober and more than willing to prance like a prattling primate in the pursuit of passionate podcasting with professional patrons. My son hates every time I write into the show because he has to hear every single word that comes out of my mouth. Oh, he hates it. But now you can hear it too. So about the episode, although we collectively gave the finale a thumbs up, that's only due to the dirty, deadly dinner that Negan delivered to the denizens of Dead City. When he toppled the table of tasty treats, I almost threw my kids across the room. We're sad to have to hang up the leather on our homemade Lucille for another lapse in seasons, but it was a solid settling for a sour patch of a season. We give it a sick and saucy 7, even if it is only because Negan and his trio of tumultuous teammates tirelessly trekked toward inevitable turmoil. Will Negan and the gang gather the guerrillas of Madison Square Gardens and gut the aggressors? Or will they target the teenager and his time-hardened teacher? Only time will tell. Now, to conclude my contention, I'd be captivated to continue the cognitive courtesy of consuming this cast, and one day, hopefully, to join Jason's jostling jamboree that is Podcastica. Thanks for all you guys do. Appreciate it. Peace.
So, first things first.
Thank God.
Colin, congratulations on 1 year sober.
Absolutely, yes. Hell
that
yeah,
is
man.
huge.
That is amazing. Great job. Great work. That is no small feat. Nicely done.
Yes.
Nicely done, sir.
Congratulations on that. But thank you so much for writing in and still continuing to do your wordplay with everything.
Delightful.
That was great. Alex, your thoughts? You set the challenge.
It was everything I would hoped it would be. Nicely done. Yes, you're going to come on for season 3 whenever that happens in 2027. And you know what, son? If you're listening, be proud of your father. He is
Yes.
is a writer, and he knows what he's doing. And I appreciate good stuff, and he comes up with good stuff. So, as a fellow father myself, whose kids are getting old enough to no longer think I'm cool, your dad's cool. Deal with it. All right, deal with it. Colin, thank you so much. You have been an absolute delight this entire season. You have always kept me satisfied and smiling, and I appreciate that for sure.
Yes, I agree. And I'm very curious. One take? One take on that voicemail?
I'd love to know that answer as well, Colin. If you could let us know how many
or
takes,
were there cuts?
Because I'll let you know, buddy. There have been plenty of times I have left voicemail for the various Podcastica shows, and it's taken 2 to 3 cuts depending on what I've said. So if you did that all in one take, my man's hats off.
Yeah.
And if
agreed.
not, still hats off.
Still just as good.
Damn right.
All right. Our next voicemail comes from Rebecca. So let's go ahead and play that now.
Hey, Ben and Alex. This is Rebecca from Houston, submitting my feedback for the season 2 finale of Dead City. I have to use a lot of, the Department of Suspension of Disbelief, because this show, it's crazy. I enjoyed it. It was kind of a background show, and I enjoyed it, and I like listening to you guys' podcast. Like when I first started watching The Walking Dead proper, I had no idea it was a comic book. I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was just a really good show. This show, I feel like it has to be straight from some kind of comic book, because it's just so out there. But I'm trying to enjoy it for what it is. The Maggie and Herschel storyline, I think really resonates with me a little bit. I mean, yes, Maggie has been a very strong character. She's a leader. The fear of heights, I think it's another suspension of disbelief, because remember when they were, I think it was like the season 9 opener, when they were rappelling down from a ceiling down into like a military building where there were a lot of dead soldier walkers, and they had to rappel down to get supplies and stuff. She was not scared of heights there, but anyway, I digress. But I think it's a good example, her parenting of Herschel. She was parenting out of trauma, out of losing Glenn, losing her dad, losing her sister, and a zombie apocalypse. And she parented Herschel to protect him at all costs. And I think sometimes when some parents do that, they overprotect their children. And when their children try to figure out who they are for themselves, they're a little lost, because they weren't really allowed to explore a lot of things because of the parents overprotecting them. That resonates with me, because I feel like that's how my childhood was. I was shielded from so many things that when I came into my own, I had to like figure out who I was, because I was just protected from so much. And so when I got exposed to the rest of the world, I didn't know where to start. And so I think that's kind of what Herschel's feeling. He's not really sure where to start. He just knows his mom keeps trying to protect him, but then she goes away to protect him. It's very confusing. And so he meets the Dama, and she's a manipulative person. She knows how to use that. And all Herschel's been looking for is for someone to pay attention to him. And the Dama is giving him that attention. And he's just grabbing onto it because he feels like his mom was so busy protecting, keeping the world away from him, that he told her, I think it was a season 1 finale, like, you never saw me for me. You basically just saw me as something you needed to protect, but not see me as who I am for a person, or something like that. So I think it's a very realistic storyline. And unfortunately, this is the fact that the Dama has her claws into Herschel really sucks. And I think maybe this is the one thing that might just break Maggie down, and that's why she's looked so weak in this season. It's because she's been on an adrenaline high for however old Herschel is, trying to protect him, and now that she's kind of seen what that protection has done to their relationship, it might just be breaking her a little bit. And I think that's kind of realistic. So anyway, there's that. And then Negan, I go back and forth with him. Like, obviously, I first hated him when I first met him. Then I liked him toward the end of The Walking Dead proper. And then I've enjoyed watching him in this season. And I feel like if he would just go back to being who he was, old Negan, like, we would love to hate him. And, like, I'd be okay with that. Like, I wish he would have just gone blue, full, and evil again, like, instead of this back and forth. And I really thought, I kind of hoped Maggie would kill him. And then when she picked up that bat, I was like, oh shit, is she going to be the new villain? Like, did she get so broken over basically Herschel picking the Dama over her that she's just coming into her villain era? Like, I was ready for that. I was ready for her to, like, be her against the Dama, like basically fighting for her son's love. I don't know. I would have been down with that storyline. I would have loved to see where that went. But anyway, that's sorry it was so long, but I really enjoyed your coverage. Yeah, I guess we'll see what's in store for us. So anyway, talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
That's amazing. Rebecca, no need to apologize. That was a delightful email. Voicemail. So no matter the length. So number one, thoroughly enjoyed your conversation on the Department of Disbelief, which I am now rephrasing the suspension of disbelief to the Department of Disbelief because
Well, no, I think she says the Department of the Suspension of Disbelief.
yes, and
Yeah.
I love that. I am going to adopt that, steal that, whatever the right phraseology is there. That's fantastic. But you are saying that you need to suspend your disbelief in a world in which zombies exist and we can make methane out of their decomposed carcasses. I think we've already suspended it a little bit.
Hey, I've said this, and this has been a community reference that I don't think you picked up on.
Ooh.
But when we started talking about using the bodies of walkers to make methane, I legit said the science checks out, which is totally a reference from Community in the episode
Ghosts
where
can't go through doors. It's not fire, stupid.
No.
Okay.
There's the episode of Community where Annie creates the what is it called, where you pretend to be another country and you debate
the Model UN.
The Model UN.
Okay.
And Abed says, like, does this mean like he figures out a way to cross over their Earth to the other Earth? And when he addresses it, the teacher's like, the science checks out.
I love Martin Starr in that episode.
It's a very deep cut Community reference.
Deep cut Community reference, though.
But I mean, again, going back to what you said about suspension of disbelief, Department of Suspension of Disbelief, about believing in a world where walkers exist. But even going into your the points, Rebecca, that you had about Herschel and such, like, absolutely, this is everything that you said that Maggie was feeling about Herschel and Herschel was feeling about Maggie. 100% I'm agreed with you on that, but that was predatory. I believe that was also predatory action by the Dama, that she knew that Herschel was feeling these ways and she instantly preyed on that and took advantage of that to, I don't know, we haven't decided yet whether it's to pull Maggie in or to push her away. Like, is Herschel just the tool? Like, is he expendable?
It's so hard to tell what the chess game the Dama is playing. Is Herschel a pawn? Is he a bishop? Is he a rook? Is he the king? Is he the queen? I don't know, because it seems that it vacillates from episode to episode who is playing what role. Oh, now Negan's the knight. Oh, now Maggie's the knight. Oh, now Herschel's the king. Oh, now the Croat's the bishop. Like, man, I'm really going hard on this chess reference, but
this is going to sound like I'm joking, but I'm really not. And too many times do we use the whole chessboard and where the pieces take place. And in a game of chess, there's one side and there's the other side, and you can only be one or the other. And I feel like in a show like this, that's not a good reference. I feel like there needs to be, I feel like this is less a game of chess, but more a game of Othello.
Ooh.
Where you have white pieces and black pieces, but they're constantly flipping because you are taking over territory by placing pieces at the ends. And when you do that, black pieces will flip to white pieces. And then later on, you could place another piece that flips some of those white pieces back to black pieces. Like, this is more a game of Othello than it is chess.
Damn, that I feel like a young Walt learning backgammon from John Locke in this moment.
But backgammon's another reference you could use too, like similarly to Othello. I mean, it's,
It is. So a couple of things. I really, really appreciate Rebecca bringing up Maggie being there for the rappelling down in Archeron Part 1 for the season premiere of the finale season. I don't know if Maggie rappelled down, but something tells me Rebecca double-checked and did her homework before writing that in. So nicely done. Way to point out, because I had challenged that there had never really been opportunities for Maggie to be challenged on heights, and that's a really good, really solid one. The other thing that Rebecca spoke on that I wanted to comment was like the idea of over-sheltering Herschel, and how over-sheltering just in society, not just with Herschel, but can lead to kids not being prepared for the real world when it is their opportunity to go into it and to do it. And I think there is something powerful. And anytime that conversation comes up, it reminds me of that Black Mirror episode, Archangel, where the mom can put in like this little blinder so that the kid doesn't see anything negative. And then as time goes on, it really skews their ability to understand what's going on. And like, I think that's a really good point that isn't brought up enough, that perhaps Maggie sheltered Herschel too much, and now Herschel's not prepared to deal with the level of manipulation and mind games that are being presented to him, because Maggie didn't actually prepare him for this world. She prepared him for the world she was trying to build. Whoa.
That's a really good point.
Whoa.
Of
I just blew my own mind with that.
You're
one.
woeing your own points.
I sure am.
But I mean, that is a really good point. I mean, you make a very valid point in that you were absolutely right. She was preparing him for the world she was trying to build, not the world as it actually is.
And that's how he's so easily manipulated by the Dhamma, because he's not ready to think that brutally and that torturously. And she's going to teach him how to be vicious. And Maggie didn't teach him how to resist that temptation.
Well, it also plays into his whole viewpoint of why do we need to go back when we can go forward?
Yes.
Because that's what Maggie, in essence, might have already been teaching him and just didn't really know it.
And he's a teenager. He's going to rebel. And if rebelling means going against what your mom says, and your mom says, hey, let's go back to the past, then yeah, you're going to be focused forward. Like, wow. Yeah. Great job, Rebecca. You blew my mind. You got us there.
You go.
Nicely done. There's one voicemail left, and there's always...
Actually, there's two.
Oh, you lying agenda man.
No, in all fairness, while we've been recording, Jason sent me another email of another voicemail that came in. So while we've been talking, I was doing all my little preparation. It's loaded into our little machine.
I'm so excited.
So Renee was nice enough to send us a voicemail last week.
You know? It's so funny because we had talked about how I called Colin out and he responded, and I was gonna bring up, like, you know, I called out Renee and she didn't respond. So what's up? So I'm so happy Renee responded. This is gonna be great.
So she sent us a voicemail, but in the body of the email, she says, "Hiya, Ben and Alex. Alex, what's good, boo?"
Everything.
Peace and love.
Everything.
So here we go. Here's the voicemail from Renee.
Yes.
And Alex, this is Renee. Alex, what's good, boo? Alex, I'm going to say this right here. Let me say this real quick. I respect the fact that you're an unapologetic Negan fan because, baby, I'm an unapologetic Rick Grimes girl through and through. I feel you, bro, because I stand 10 toes down for my man. Rick Grimes has been my TV husband since he grew that beard, so I definitely feel you, okay? Alex, you have to come down to Savannah for St. Patrick's Day one year. Baby, we turned the whole city green, and we're all Irish for that day, okay? Folks come from all over just to party with us in the seaport. I mean, we laugh, we dance, we eat good, and we show out like only the seaport can. I mean, it's a whole vibe. Southern hospitality with a little side of turn up. I'm a true Southern belle with just a sprinkle of gangster. I'm Seaport, born and bred, so I really need you to come and hang out with us. But I'm going to keep my feedback so demure and so cutesy. That Dahmer scene, it reminds